What if? It's the question that defines history's crossroads, the unseen battles, and the clashes of titans across time. Today we confront an anomaly of epic proportions, a hypothetical conflict so stark it defies imagination. 100 elite European knights, resplendent in their full-plate armor from the 12th to 15th centuries, against a staggering 10,000 samurai from Japan's tumultuous Sengoku period. This isn't just a fantasy, this is a meticulous simulation, where every ounce of steel, every tactical choice, every shot fired will determine the victor. The stage for this impossible clash is set. A treacherous mountain pass, barely wide enough for a few dozen men abreast. This claustrophobic terrain will be both a crucible and a coffin. The odds are astronomically stacked. 100 men against 10,000. A 100-to-1 disadvantage. In any other scenario, it would be suicide. But these are no ordinary men, and their steel, their training, and the very ground beneath their feet will warp the rules of engagement. Can the pinnacle of medieval European martial engineering withstand the overwhelming tide of the East? Let the simulation begin. First, let's analyze the European knights. Forget Hollywood anachronisms. We're talking about the fully armored knights of the late medieval period. This isn't chainmail, it's full plate, an engineering marvel forged from hardened steel. From bassinet helm to sabatons, these warriors are encased in articulated, overlapping plates designed to deflect and absorb incredible force. A knight in full plate was, quite literally, a walking tank of the Middle Ages. Arrows bounced off, sword slashes scraped harmlessly across their polished surfaces. They were, for all intents and purposes, invulnerable to the common infantry weapons of their era. But even a tank has vulnerabilities. Against another knight, or against dedicated anti-armor weapons, the story changes. Blunt force trauma from war hammers and maces could concuss or crush the man inside, even if the armor remained unpierced. Daggers and narrow-pointed swords could find their way into the tiny gaps and joints. These knights, knowing their armor's strengths and weaknesses, favored devastating crushing weapons like war hammers, poleaxes, and flanged maces. These weren't elegant weapons for dueling. They were brutal instruments designed to deliver kinetic energy, to shatter bones and crumple steel. Each swing was a testament to raw, concentrated power, a lethal answer to armored threats. Now, let's turn to the samurai, 10,000 strong. The embodiment of discipline, martial prowess, and a unique fighting philosophy. Their forces consisted of highly trained samurai warriors, wielding katanas and yumi bows, supported by vast ranks of ashigaru, spear infantry, archers, and crucially, arquebusiers. The samurai's mobility, their mastery of archery, and the sheer weight of numbers are their greatest assets. A volley of yumi arrows, though less powerful than European longbows, could darken the sky and pin down an enemy. However, the famed katana, while a devastating weapon against unarmored or lightly armored opponents, is almost useless against full plate armor. Its cutting edge simply cannot bite into hardened steel. It would glance off or shatter. This is a critical tactical disadvantage, but the Sengoku period brought a game changer: firearms. The Arquebus, a primitive but potent matchlock musket, was prevalent in the samurai armies. While slow to reload, its heavy lead ball, traveling at high velocity, could penetrate even plate armor at close range, or at least deliver a bone-shattering impact. This weapon, deployed by thousands, fundamentally alters the equation and represents the samurai's only true answer to the knight's impenetrable defense. The battle begins. The samurai, confident in their overwhelming numbers, make their first critical tactical error, a head-on assault into the narrow pass. Thousands of ashigaru spearmen surge forward, followed by samurai warriors, their katanas flashing. It's a human wave, a tidal bore of steel and fury. The knights, however, hold their ground, a disciplined, steel-clad block, no more than 20 men wide at the choke point. They present an unyielding wall. The first impact is less a clash of steel and more a gruesome, sickening thud. Katanas clang impotently off breastplates. Spears splinter against hardened steel. The Ashigaru, expecting vulnerable flesh, find only an immovable, terrifying force. The knights unleash their anti-armor arsenal. Warhammers crush helmets, maces shatter limbs, poleaxes cleave through bodies with sickening force. Each swing connects with devastating efficiency, generating camera shakes and sickening squelches. There's no elegant dueling here, only brutal, methodical slaughter. The Ashigaru are not just dying, they are being broken. Bones crack, bodies crumple. They're facing iron demons, impervious to their blades, yet wielding weapons of unimaginable destructive power. Panic ripples through the first ranks. Their battle cries turn to screams of terror. The kill counter for the knights rises steadily, unnervingly. The samurai's initial surge grinds to a halt, choked by the sheer carnage. The samurai commanders, seeing their initial strategy fail catastrophically, adapt. The sound of matchlock fire echoes through the pass. Arquebuses are brought to the fore. A coordinated volley erupts, plumes of smoke momentarily obscuring the knights. This is the moment of truth. The heavy lead balls, unlike katanas, can penetrate. The first knights fall, not from a clean pierce, but from devastating concussive impacts to unarmored joints, or from a lucky shot finding a weak point, or simply the sheer force knocking them to the ground vulnerable. The impenetrable becomes vulnerable. The kill counter for the knights stops, then slowly, agonizingly begins to tick down. But these are elite knights. Not even the terror of firearms breaks their resolve. Instead, something primal takes over. Enraged by their fallen comrades, a primal roar erupts from the surviving knights. They transition from an unyielding wall to a berserker charge. With newfound ferocity, they push forward, their crushing weapons swinging with even greater madness. This isn't just a tactical shift, it's a psychological assault. The samurai, who had briefly seen hope, now witness their iron demons not fall, but become more terrifying. The sight of these few, battered but unbowed, advancing relentlessly, turns the samurai's fragile morale into outright panic. Discipline shatters. The line breaks. Once the line breaks in a confined space, against such an unyielding foe, it's over. The remaining knights, a bloodied but still formidable force, are no longer fighting a coherent army but a terrified, fleeing mob. The gorge becomes a slaughterhouse. Trapped between the charging knights and their own terrified comrades, thousands of samurai and ashigaru are crushed, trampled, or cut down. It's a testament to the psychological impact of perceived invincibility and the sheer destructive power of anti-armor weaponry in the hands of disciplined, fanatical warriors. The arquebuses, effective as they were, simply could not deliver sustained, accurate fire in the chaos, nor could they stop the momentum of the charging steel demons. When the dust settled, the narrow pass was choked with the dead. Of the 10,000 samurai, only a scattered few hundred managed to escape the Valley of Death, their morale shattered, their ranks decimated. And the knights? A mere 73 stood, battered, bruised, their armor scarred, but alive. The victor is clear. Despite the unimaginable odds, despite the advent of firearms, the 100 elite European knights prevailed. This simulation demonstrates a brutal truth. In a confined space where numerical superiority is nullified, the impenetrable defense of heavy plate armor, combined with devastating anti-armor weaponry and the sheer psychological terror they inflicted, proved insurmountable. The medieval tank, even against early gunpowder, reigned supreme. What a terrifying, glorious victory for the men of steel.